Welcome back, everybody, to another special rundown for our show this Saturday in Stevenage. The road to Revolution Rumble is well and truly underway. There's just 3 shows between now and March 26th at York Hall. And Andy, before we get into this, let's talk about the hectic scenes at our last show at the 229. It was absolute bedlam.
It was, yeah. It made me feel alive for a day. I've been sick as a dog, as sick as a poorly dog. But yeah, my God, it was absolute insanity. And I kind of say it all the time as we're in that road to these York Hall shows. They kind of there always seems to be that big fight atmosphere in the air across all the shows leading up to it, and tension which can be cut with a knife, which creates these combustible situations, which in turn creates absolute chaos, which as long as I can stay within arm's length from it, I really enjoy, because it's crazy.
It's fun to watch when you're not involved.
Right, and at the moment I feel like it's even more heightened, because it's not just two guys who are feuding with one another, or two tag teams fighting for a prize. It's literally 30 men who are going to be competing in this over the top rope rumble on March the 26th, and we still don't know who all the entrants are, and there are people making cases to be in that rumble, and it's just absolute craziness. And I'm sure that the craziness is going to continue as we go into this weekend shows.
Well, if you haven't got your ticket for Revolution Rumble yet, what are you waiting for? RevolutionProWrestling.com. But that is at the end of the month. Let's jump in to this Saturday show. So we've got an absolutely stacked card. I'm just going to jump in with one of the many scenes we saw unfolding at the 229 is that if Driller Dan Maloney wants his match with Will Ospreay at York Hall, he has to pass all of Gideon Gray's tests, and his test this Saturday is the newcomer to Revolution Pro Wrestling, at least Jack Morris, who made quite an impact.
Yeah, well, Jack Morris knows firsthand that if you want to make an impression, you just come in and slap someone across the face. And that's essentially what he did metaphorically to TK Cooper in that physical match at the 229. And then he came and confronted Dan Maloney after Dan Maloney's victory over Shigehiro Irie. And look, Dan Maloney's not messing anymore, is he? And I'm going to say that Dan Maloney, this challenge that Will Ospreay, this gauntlet that Will Ospreay laid down, and that the mastermind behind it in Gideon Gray picking the opposition that Dan Maloney is going to compete against, I genuinely feel it's making Dan Maloney a better professional wrestler, because I think Dan Maloney has now, no pun intended, stepped up to another level since that challenge was laid down. He's more focused, he's more determined, he's still a firecracker, but now he's got that focus. And I think when you've got someone who just shoots wildly like Dan Maloney has been doing over the past couple of years in Revolution Pro Wrestling, when they had that focus, when they had their eyes set on the prize, the target, they become so much more dangerous. And that seems to be what's happening with Dan Maloney. And look, Jack Morris, make no mistake about it, he wants to upset the party. He's proven he's a very real deal. He's a headliner in Pro Wrestling Noah for a reason. And he's durable, he's hard hitting, he's tough. And perhaps one thing he doesn't have is the accolades in the United Kingdom that he feels he should have. So this is an opportunity for him to make the headlines, because any time Will Ospreay's name's attached to anything, it's gonna get attention of people. And he wants to upset Dan Maloney, and I don't mean it's going to be an upset. If he wins, I don't think you could call it an upset. I don't think you could call Jack Morris' victory an upset. But he wants to upset Dan Maloney's plans for the Revolution Rumble, and he wants to disrupt our next flagship show. And he is there with a mission statement to make an impact and to make a name for himself, and he's looking to do that off the back of Dan Maloney. And look, the Driller is, he spoke a good talk for ages about it being a super fight season, but now it really is, because every fight he's involved in is a legitimate super fight, and he's delivering each and every time. This is a very different Dan Maloney than even 1 month ago, and I think this contest could well steal the show.
Absolutely, it's got all the elements of a tremendous professional wrestling match. That one is going to go off So that obviously is part of the Legion's overall plan from Lord Gideon Grey. So we'll continue with that Legion theme as Yota Tsuji is going one-on-one with the heart and soul of Revolution Pro Wrestling, JJ Gale.
Yeah, there's high stakes in this one, isn't there? Because JJ Gale, he's not got a spot in the Revolution Rumble. Of course, Yota Tsuji does. And this past Sunday at the 229, JJ Gale made an excellent account of himself, coming up victorious against Yota Tsuji, picking up an upset victory. But his second victory on the bounce since he said, look, I'm going to refocus, redirect my career, and concentrate on being a singles competitor, concentrate on the evolution of myself and stop worrying about other people. And with no hard feelings to his tag team partner, Callum Newman.
Very rare in pro wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And he's picked up the second win on the bounce. And to me, the strength of that win, JJ Gale could have come to myself and said, listen, Andy, I feel like I've earned a spot in the Revolution Rumble. And do you know what? I think I probably would have agreed with him. But JJ Gale doesn't want a spot in the Revolution Rumble. He wants Yota Tsuji's spot in the Revolution Rumble. So if lightning can strike twice and JJ Gale can pick up another upset win, well, I don't think we'll be able to call it an upset if JJ picks up 2 on the bounce against Yota Tsuji. But I don't feel that many people are predicting there's going to be a JJ Gale win here. But listen, it's a part of his evolution. He wants to test himself, and he knows he's laying the bar out here and saying, look, either I beat Yota Tsuji and take his spot in the Rumble, or I'm not in the Revolution Rumble. You know, JJ Gale has never competed at York Hall either. And that's a goal that he's had for a long time. And he's seen people come in after him and get those opportunities in York Hall. And he still hasn't done it. And this is his clear path to get in that contest at York Hall, Bethnal Green. But my God, he's made it difficult for himself, hasn't he? Because the element of surprise is no more. Because Yota Tsuji knows all about JJ Gale right now, and you can bet your bottom dollar that himself and Gideon Grey are preparing diligently for the challenge that lays ahead.
Well, this is certainly going to be JJ's biggest test since splitting from Callum Newman. So let's talk about Callum Newman. He's got a big challenge ahead of him as well. He's taking on the former undisputed British heavyweight champion, RKJ.
Yeah, RKJ, who's in some kind of mood at the moment, isn't he? We saw him cleaning house at the 229 and making it clear. He said, you know, all you boys, you're fighting over who's going to win the Revolution Rumble. As far as I'm concerned, you're fighting over who's going to decide to have a match with me at the Epic Encounter, because he goes in to March 26th challenging for the Great-O-Khan's undisputed British Heavyweight Championship, a championship which RKJ never lost. And he's going to be looking to bring all the momentum in the world into that contest and look to once again call himself undisputed and end the undefeated streak of the Dominator Great-O-Khan. But like I say, he's going to be wanting to take that momentum into this one. The reason why JJ Gale and Callum Newman complemented each other so perfectly is because they both had the same ambition as one another. And look, Callum Newman could be like, well, look, I want to take it easy on my singles career, if you will. But he wants the very best. And against Ricky Knight Jr., he's going to get the very best. But like I say, Ricky Knight Jr. is in a rare kind of mood at the moment. And when he's in that mood, it makes him very, very difficult to try and stop. So going to be an interesting contest. And I know that Ricky Knight Jr. has got this chip on his shoulder. He feels like he's got a lot to prove. So does Callum Newman. So, you know, I'm excited for this one. I remember a meeting between the pair months and months ago now, which was just fantastic. And I think that both men have only grown as professional wrestlers since that point, and both men have only grown in confidence since that point. And I think that, you know, this contest is going to be very special, and another one which could steal the show.
Well, you talk about matches that steal the show. At the last 229, we saw that epic 8-man tag match, so many combustible elements. We've got something of a sequel to that, as we've got 4 of the men that were in that match in tag team action. It's Michael Oku and Cameron Kai versus Gabriel Kidd and Leon Slater. Now, this just has potential show stealer written all over it anyway, but there's that interesting dynamic of Michael seems to have taken Cameron under his wing as of lately, hasn't he?
Yeah, for so many reasons, I absolutely love this match. So we've got so many different dynamics. Think about that contest in Birmingham between Gabriel Kidd and Michael Oku, the inconclusive nature at the end of that contest. Both men entered into the Revolution Rumble. Both men see themselves as one of the favourites to win the Revolution Rumble. Both men with that stubborn sense of pride, that never say die attitude. And they both bring different things stylistically to the table, but the constant is the heart that they bring to the fight. So you've got that dynamic of Gabriel Kidd and Michael Oku. Then we add Leon Slater, who's perhaps the most exciting prospect to ever step foot inside a Revolution Wrestling ring. At only 18 years of age, they call him the youngest in charge for a reason. He's capable of doing things that you only see in video games. That's not an exaggeration. And not only that, he does it with very little effort. It comes easy to the man. Leon Slater is a highlight reel. Every single one of his matches is a highlight reel. And Michael Oku is someone that Leon Slater looked up to for years and years. And I say years and years. When I say years and years, we're talking about young men here. So, you know, we're talking 3-4 years.
We're talking 4 years, yeah.
Right. But when Leon Slater, you've seen the pictures of Leon Slater looking up at Michael Oku, you know, on the outside of the ring. And we saw what happened when they competed against each other and the respect shown by the two men afterwards. And do you know what I noticed at the 229? I noticed Leon Slater had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I noticed Leon Slater had a little bit of an attitude when it came towards Cameron Kai. Because Leon Slater calls himself the youngest in charge. But who's younger than Leon Slater? Cameron Kai. And when you talk about prodigies in the world of professional wrestling, what about Cameron Kai? The guy has been training for, I'm going to say, look, he made his debut after maybe 2 months training, and that was in April last year, approximately, give or take, right? So the guy's been training for just over 1 year, let alone appearing on shows. Have you ever seen anyone, like, so look, Leon Slater at 17 years of age was something else, but he'd been training for a long time before that. He'd been competing on shows around the country for a long time before that. Cameron Kai just came from nowhere. And the physicality that he's capable of is something else as well. And yes, Michael Oku definitely sees something in Cameron Kai. You saw, you know, they made a bond at the Portsmouth School of Wrestling, and you saw the way Michael Oku reacted towards Cameron Kai after that great contest they had in Southampton. And I think that what encourages Michael Oku more than anything is that Cameron Kai continues to evolve and continues to move forward and continues to learn lessons. And I think that's why Michael Oku's taken such a keen interest in Cameron Kai. And I'm not sure that Cameron Kai believes like Leon Slater believes. And I feel that Michael Oku feels that part of his role is helping Cameron Kai believe. And perhaps he doesn't feel that Leon Slater needs that same help. Yet Leon Slater clearly is upset that Michael Oku is taking Cameron Kai seemingly under his wing and not him. And that's created those elements there. And look, Cameron Kai was able to match Leon Slater for speed at the 229, but ultimately he was caught by Slater, and you saw how happy that made Leon Slater. But yeah, that's just another layer to this professional wrestling tag team match ahead of, again, the Revolution Rumble. And you saw how combustible it was at the 229. And if anything, I don't think that that tag match of the 229 settled anything. I don't think that it calmed anyone down. If anything, I think it's created even more tension. And, you know, it's like I say, as long as I can stay at arm's length from everything, I'm excited to watch it go down.
Yeah, thank God we'll be behind the commentary desk, safe from that one. Coming up next, we have a match. It's two returns to Revolution Pro Wrestling. It's Mercedes Blaze versus Chantel Jordan. Now, this is a match that could lay the foundation for the future of the women's division here in Revolution Pro Wrestling. We've heard from Mercedes Blaze herself. The last time we saw her, she's made her intentions clear. She is coming for the women's championship, no matter who holds it. And Chantel Jordan, you know, we've seen her in action. We know she's a very exciting competitor, and obviously that's going to be on her mind as well.
Yeah, well, look, I feel that Chantel Jordan, if she didn't get injured towards the tail end of last year, I think that it could have been a huge close to 2022 for her. And it's time for her to make up for lost time right now. You know, she was in that fight for the future against Maya Matthews, and she received a Southside Women's Championship shot as a result of winning that contest against Kanji. And she put in a tremendous showing for herself on both nights. And I genuinely believe that Chantel Jordan is one of the most diverse competitors in the women's division. She's a fantastic striker. She's also an underrated technician, and she's been doing this for a long time. Talk about young veteran. Chantel Jordan has been doing this for a very, very long time, and I feel that it's just going to take a few matches, a few wins to string together, and we could be talking about the next big thing in British professional wrestling. But then we look at Mercedes Blaze, and Mercedes Blaze is smash mouth. She's in your face. She's confident. Is she arrogant? It's a fine line, but confidence breeds success. And Mercedes Blaze, I'm telling you, she is, for me, one of the best all-rounders going today. And I think this is going to be a fantastic match between two of the very best. And we've got some exciting plans for 2023, or the remainder of 2023 in our women's division, and how we're reshaping things, which we're going to, reveal those plans soon. But I feel that both Mercedes Blaze and Chantel Jordan are going to be a huge part of that. But who's going to be on top of that heap? And we know that Danny Luna is going to be watching the wings. We know that Sky Smithson's going to be watching in the wings. It's a very, very competitive time right now. And yeah, I think that this contest is going to be great. I genuinely do. Stylistically, I think this could be one of the best women's matches we've had in a very long time.
Yeah, those women are definitely going to push each other to the limit. And as you said, Danny Luna will have her eyes firmly on that match, looking at who's going to be the winner. Coming up, we've got 2 matches left, and boy, what matches they are. We've got the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Archer, and he's taking on a very game, True Grit Connor Mills. Now, this is the kind of match I know that Connor Mills wants this year. These big names, these monsters, and he wants to prove that he can step up to anyone, but what's a person to step up to? Like all 7'2" of the Murder Hawk monster.
Not many people call out Lance Archer, right? But Connor Mills is not many people. Connor Mills is, I don't know what, look, these days, I don't know what Connor Mills is thinking, but I know he's not afraid of any man. And he's the one, like I say, he's the one who laid out that challenge. We heard him in Cardiff, step up to me and find out that everybody dies. And that was, those words looking into the camera were direct, they were to the point, and they were straight at the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Archer. Of course, you don't need to ask Lance Archer twice if he wants to fight, because Lance Archer's born for this. Lance Archer wants to run through the competition. Connor Mills is going to be lacking a lot in size against Lance Archer. That goes without saying. So Connor Mills is going to have to be resourceful. He's going to have to be wily. He's going to have to rely on perhaps those feet of his, those educated feet. He's going to perhaps need to try and think about chopping down the big tree that is Lance Archer, perhaps looking towards leg kicks, ducking, diving, moving out the way, trying to strike when Lance Archer can't see him coming, trying to take the Murder Hawk monster off balance. These are all the things that Connor Mills is going to need to do if he's going to find success in this contest. But Lance Archer has a lot of frustrations. It's been a long while. He said himself, it'd been a long while since he'd competed. He came back from that tour of Japan and he hadn't been involved for a long time. He voiced his frustrations. And since that point, he's literally been murking people in AEW. 2 guys last time out, right? He is in that kind of mood where he wants to run through Connor Mills. He's going to be on a long plane ride. He's not going to be in a good mood when he gets to the UK, and he's going to want to take those frustrations out on Connor Mills. But the opportunistic Mills looks at this as an opportunity to try and write wrestling headlines and make it about him, because that's ultimately where it all boils down for Connor Mills. Is he wants everything to be about him.
He really does. And as you said, what better way to go about it than literally picking a fight with the biggest, baddest guy you can find.
And Connor Mills, to be honest, it's a no-lose situation for Connor Mills, because even if he were to be defeated, if he were to stand and be competitive with Lance Archer, he will, I think, have proven a point, because he is, without a doubt, stepping up weight classes to go up against Lance Archer. So, look, perhaps it's a bit more calculated than we're giving Connor Mills credit for.
Very true, very true. And now we come to our main event for the undisputed British Cruiserweight Champion, the defending champion Robbie X goes up against Rich Swann. And this is just going to be an absolutely fantastic encounter. Blink and you miss it, because these guys can just go 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, the pair have competed before for Southside Wrestling, and you can check that match out on RevProOnDemand.com in our archives. But listen, the pair are so much better now than they were then. And look, we've spoken time and time again about Robbie X. You know, I believe right now is Robbie X's time. It is his moment. He has got that self-belief. He has got that confidence. And, you know, he is looking more and more impressive. And that championship is looking more and more at home around his waist. So I think that it's a real great moment for Robbie X in order to show just how much he's achieved and just how much he's accomplished and just how much he's moved on. And I think I can say the same for Rich Swann as well, because to me, Rich Swann, of course, a former one half of the undisputed British Tag Team Champions, responsible for so many great moments in Revolution Pro Wrestling. And of course, the last time we saw Rich Swann was at our second annual British J Cup. So he's long overdue a return to Revolution Pro Wrestling. But he is the type of wrestler, and of course, his last shot at that Cruiserweight Championship for Revolution Pro Wrestling wasn't in a Rev Pro ring. It was in America against Michael Oku. And he came that close to winning that championship from Michael Oku. So, you know, he's going to want to get one step further against Robbie X. He's going to want to book that return plane ticket to Revolution Pro Wrestling, and he's going to want to represent Rev Pro and win his second championship here in Revolution Pro Wrestling. I believe Rich Swann is one of the most underrated professional wrestlers in the world today, and that's saying something because we all know how good Rich Swann is. But I'm telling you, this contest is going to be something else. You know, we've spoken about combustible situations. This one's going to be more of a spectacular situation. This one's going to be almost like a firework display. You know, you said it at the start, blink and you will miss it. Two of the fastest professional wrestlers in the world today, two of the most innovative professional wrestlers in the world today. They're motivated, they're excited, and the most prestigious cruiserweight gold in the whole of Europe is on the line. So listen, I think this is going to be one of those contests that at the end of the night, not just everyone in the building, not just the whole of the UK, but the entire wrestling world is going to be talking about. They're going to say, seek out this match. You need to see this match, because these are two of the very, very best. And it's a recurring theme. All 7 of those matches have the potential to be show stealers. And this one may well be the icing on top of the cake.
7 must-see matches. As always, tickets available from revolutionprowrestling.com. That's Saturday, the 11th of March at the beautiful Gordon Craig Theatre in Stevenage. And if you can't be there in person, where can they watch it, Andy?
Of course, RevProOnDemand.com is the place to be. So look, we've made no secret. We're still in the test screen process. Is tough. It's, you know, everything we're doing is DIY. But you know, what we can guarantee is you'll have a high quality version very shortly after the event. Just want to point out as well that the versions which go up straight after the events are essentially the live stream version of the event. So sometimes they're not as pretty as they can be. But, you know, we leave them up because people have, you know, said their enthusiasm about being able to see what happens straight away, being able to relive moments straight away, etc. And we are making a real effort to get the high quality versions up ASAP after the events. So you can check it out on RevProOnDemand.com. But listen, I'm telling you, there's nothing like being at Revolution Pro Wrestling live. So even if you can't make this Saturday, check out RevolutionProWrestling.com for tickets for all of our events, because like I say, it's there's no experience that parallels it. Even people who go to you know, the major promotions in WWE, AEW, etc., there's nothing like independent professional wrestling. You know, that intimate, close and personal environment where you really are a part of a show. It's not like you're watching from the outside looking in. You are a part of a show, and we create moments that people remember for a very, very long time. So yeah, just experience that feeling and get your tickets. Come down to any event you can. RevolutionProWrestling.com.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll either see you at a show soon, or we'll see you right back here on our YouTube channel. Thanks very much. Take care.